So thank you so much. Professor Néstor Medina is the Assistant Professor of Religious Ethics and Culture at Emmanuel College, and I'm really glad that you're going to take a few minutes to talk with us today, Professor Medina.
Thank you, Professor Wick Stevenson. Sorry, this is so weird.
I know, it's so weird. Okay, well, I'm trying to be official, you know, these are new students. We want to be official.
I know, but I'd rather Nestor.
Okay.
Yeah, but anyway.
Good, well, now everyone knows that they can call you Nestor.
Yeah.
So my first question for you today is, when you have students coming into your ethics classes in the MDiv program, what do they tend to find most challenging when they start this academic study of ethics?
You know, this is a great question. I think when students first come in and bring a range of ideas about ethics, they quickly discover that ethics is far more than what they expected. So, for example, quite often students come in with ideas of do's and don'ts or ideas of wrong and correct answers to ethical questions and dilemmas. And what they find is that there is a range of approaches that can be used and that can shape how one thinks about ethical questions and how they get at some kind of resolution of ethical dilemmas. So they very quickly realize there are no easy answers. And of course, these students are able to deal with because they have the opportunity of engaging their peers in group activities and confront serious ethical dilemmas in a safe space. So it is within that space that they then begin to realize the complexity of ethical questions. A second thing that I find that they find very difficult is that they also come to grips with the idea that ethics is not just the moralizing of complicated topics. In fact, ethical reasoning includes, one's own ethno-racial and cultural background, social location, personal experiences, and a host of other factors, of course. So many of the students are not accustomed to think ethics without taking their own background into consideration, and sometimes have a hard time thinking how personally involved they are when considering ethical questions, or at least how personally involved should they be when considering ethical questions. Of course, I have to say that students' willingness to learn begins to manifest as they engage the readings coming from diverse perspectives and ethnocultural traditions, and begin to see different communities, how different communities get at questions differently. And then they quickly begin to think, well, so if this question is this way, I look at it this way because I am Latino, male, and highly educated institutionally. Well, that means then that somebody from a different perspective, from a different background and tradition will look at it differently. And I think those are some of the harder things for some of the students when they come. So those would be the two that I would say.
Thank you. And so in light of those challenges that you name, what would you say are the rewards that the students come out of these courses with from studying Christian ethics? What's maybe even the things that surprise the students themselves? What do they leave being grateful for?
Well, I would hope that they come out really excited of having taken the course with me, but I guess that doesn't count. But besides the opportunity of having the space of thinking about complicated questions with their peers, I think there are some good takeaways from the course in ethics. And I'll give you two, of course. The first one is the development and the sharpening of critical skills when engaging ethical questions, including the incorporation of specific approaches to ethics that account for their own vantage point, their own social location. I think that is an important takeaway. Oftentimes I've heard students say, these are the kinds of things that help me deal with ethical issues that I didn't know before. So that is one good thing. And the second one, and I already hinted at earlier, is the awareness that ethical questions are not to be responded with simple, just moralizing or totalizing perspectives. There are too many contingent factors when it comes to thinking ethics. So students come away with the realization and the sensitivity to the complexity of ethical issues, the savviness, to confront those issues head on, and the openness to learn from other perspectives that enrich their own. So those would be two things. Of course, the course is designed to help them develop a broad sense of ethics and to also begin to understand how they themselves and their experiences and their own upbringing has contributed to their own way or to the particular ways in which they think and approach ethical questions.
So in light of all that, do you have any advice for our incoming MDiv students? They're taking this self-study to kind of prepare themselves spiritually and emotionally for their time at Emmanuel. So as they're doing that, in light of ethics courses, is there anything you would recommend they do as they prepare?
I would say, go out, barbecue, and play games. I always a whole lot of things, but with regards
I would totally
to this,
agree with that. Chill out. Yes. The work will begin in September, but yeah, please
exactly.
Keep going, Néstor.
But at the same time, I would say there is a great community of learners that are going to come, and so just work on remaining open to the possibilities of what might be. That sounds so cliche, but really seriously, remain open to the fact that you are going to go through this journey with other people. You're not going to be alone. And that if there are moments when you feel alone, there are a host of people who are willing to just walk together with you. And so I would just say, enjoy the moment. And we're looking forward to see you in the fall.
Thank you so much, Néstor. That's great advice. And thanks for chatting with our new students today.
My pleasure.